So many of you know that the first Sunday of each month we have one of our young adults talk, and one of our regular young adults here that's just a fabulous, amazing intellect and great sense of humor, a wonderful human being, and he's going to give a wonderful power talk to you this morning, short, beautiful message. Would you welcome Mr. Brian Akers?
Yes, you are powerful. Yes. What I'd like to talk to you guys about this morning is something that affects a lot of the people that were just screaming, and a lot of you as well. And it's for young adults. There's this. It's a period of time in a young person's life and in my life where you're seeking to discover who and what you are, like what you're about. Like what you stand for, what you stand against. Coming out of the election, that's no clearer than it's been lately. A lot of people are discovering themselves and identifying themselves with things, and allowing their identity to be represented by things in their lives, by experiences in their lives. So you'll find people who have decided that they are now going to identify themselves as a doctor, or people who are going to identify themselves as being a musician, or people who are starting families and are beginning to identify themselves as a father or as a mother. And what I've discovered recently, Spirit has gracefully handed me some fabulous opportunities to learn this lesson, which is that these things are all found outside of the self. And they're all things. The things that we tend to use to identify ourselves are things in and of themselves. And what do we know about all things? We know that all things are temporary. So it's easy to come to a place when you have identified yourself as a doctor and get halfway through medical school and find yourself not wanting to be that anymore, and to lose your identity. There are times when you fall in love and get married in a beautiful service run by Dr. Jim Terrell, and then you find out that you're not going to be married anymore, and then no longer are you married, and so as a husband you are not, and so your identity goes with it. And in this text, in this teaching, one of the things that Dr. Holmes points to that is so poignant and so important for people of my age group, young adults who are coming into themselves and discovering and identifying who and what they are, is the concept that the first place you have to look when discovering who you truly are is within. That the one thing that will always be constant, that is not a form, that is not an item to identify yourself with, but is an actual, expressive, infinite thing, is the self within. And Ernest has an amazing poem that he wrote that really touched my life at a very important time when I discovered him. And a lot of people will read Ernest's text and they'll think, it's like reading a lecture. So it's very easy for people who've never heard Ernest Holmes speak or anything of that nature to really just identify the textual, it's like reading a chemistry book. It's like reading a textbook on how to live your spirituality. And what a lot of people miss sometimes, and that I invite you guys to look into, is the fact that he was truly a Renaissance man. And he wrote a poem about that withinness that you identify yourself with. And he identified it as the Christ. And so the Christ within is that which I'm speaking of, that thing to identify yourself that is always infinite, that is always present within yourself. And so what greater time to talk about Christ than on Jesus' birthday month? So I'm going to share with you this quick poem that Ernest wrote that touched my life at a very important time. And so if you feel so moved, feel free to close your eyes or to go within, or whatever it is that allows you to really focus on these words. And I'd like to share those words with you now. Asleep in the heart of cosmic love, unborn, universal potential, the Christ child lay. And the great mother's soul, brooding over her unborn child, conceived it in the stillness of her universal nature, imparting it her own being. Born into time and experience, unnoticed, unseen, yet alive and aware, the Christ child incarnated in human form. Taking the likeness of men and women, yet giving no sign of its presence, waiting with utmost patience and love the revelation that should disclose itself and proclaim the reign of peace. Many ages passed and vanished in the long yesterdays of time, and still the Christ child waited. Nations appeared and disappeared. Toil, famine, pestilence, and want. Hunger, cold, heat, and thirst. War, hatred, blood, and ruin. And still the seed of perfection unrevealed. But the universal wholeness cannot be forever subjected, nor cosmic love be kept from human form. That which was given must be revealed. The seed of perfection must burst. The shoots of heavenly planting must break the cords that bind, fanning the human into a blaze divine. And so the long-appointed day arrived. A voice from out the stillness spoke. This is my beloved Son. Let the earth be still in his presence. Let the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and all living creatures be still. Let the hosts of heaven sing praises, and let deep cry unto deep. Then spoke the child. I am come to bring peace. I am the child of joy, and to all who will I give life. I am formed of happiness. I am come from the eternal stillness. Quietness and confidence are mine. In the heart of the Father I have lived forever. O nations and all people, look unto me and be saved. Behold my face shining as the sun, and my feet shod with righteousness. In my left hand are riches and honor, and in my right peace forevermore. All that I am, all that I have, I give. And so I invite all of you during this Christmas season, as you choose to be who and what it is that you are, to identify yourself as that Christ within. Because in this space, in this center, in your lives, with your friends and with your family, and with the strangers on the street, at every turn and every opportunity, this giver of peace, this standard of righteousness, is present and ready to express itself as itself through you, by way of you, in every single moment of every single day. Thank you.